Everyone, hello there. Today, I'm here in North LOMEI Labyrinth because we're saying farewell to a dear friend, Barry the Bear. Aww. Or should I say, Bearwell? I like puns, sue me. I have taken Barry here to so many ridiculous places in this game. I've taken her to Flowerblight, Riju and Gerudo Town, Eventide, even to King Rhoam atop the Temple of Time. And what better way to say Bearwell than to take her on the mother of all bear ventures and bring her to the shrine in every single labyrinth. And yes, that includes the should-be impossible LOMEI Labyrinth Island. All to solve these shrines impractically. Because how do you even solve a labyrinth impractically?
Well, actually, these are all mazes, not labyrinths. A labyrinth is one continuous path, and as long as you keep going forward, you'll reach the end. While a maze has multiple branching paths and dead ends.
I don't remember asking, but thanks for the clarification, I guess. The first maze is North LOMEI Labyrinth here. Now this one is first because it's just a matter of navigating the maze. There's no real challenge getting here like the other ones. It's just a long walk through the snow. And also, turns out walking through a maze is kinda boring. It's a really tight space and it was pretty annoying to navigate through, but there's no real challenge or threat to... Okay, there was one threat. But after navigating almost the entire maze, I had a harsh realization. I forgot to kill the eye at the start that controls the malice here. And I'm kinda glad I did. Because this mistake made a challenge that made this a lot more worth it. So I froze Barry using up one of our freeze tokens, I'll explain those later when it matters more, going all the way over a wall designed to use 3 entire stamina wheels to climb. Luckily I had Rivali's Gale to get over, shoot the eye and Rivali's Gale back up. So I used the Pro HUD so the HUD is less intrusive to make the video quality a little better, and I didn't know I only had 1 Rivali's Gale charge. And this is how I know about the 3 stamina wheels. But it ran out right at the top at least. And the 30-second freeze timer ran out just before I got back. Oh yeah, fun fact, freezing lasts for 30 seconds on most things. And after all that running, navigating the maze, and getting over the wall, is performing one of the single hardest, dumbest things I've ever done, a flat surface bear lift. Why is this difficult? You see the chest's hitbox and the bear hitbox, when pushed into each other, it's just like pushing a box into another box. Nothing really yields. When there's a slant, it's really easy because the chest hitbox can scoop underneath the bear to lift it up. But these maze floors are all flat. But I somehow got stupid lucky and did a refreeze just as she ran over the chest. And normally she just yeets it away, so I'll count my blessings. Blessings, get it? 'Cause blessing shrines? Yeah. Anywho. So another fun fact, much like how cows can't go downstairs,
cows can't go downstairs.
These bears apparently can't go upstairs, at least in these tight spaces. Just look, she's terrified of them. Or maybe it's because Link is too heavy because she freely runs up when not mounted. Link, you really gotta lose some weight, buddy. Rinse and repeat all the way to the top, swiggity swoo down the edge, and that's 1 maze down. Goodbye, Kazatoki. Now, South LOMEI Maze, as you can imagine, is not going to be so easy, as it is located very inconveniently in the desert. You know, where mounts normally are not allowed, but since when have game mechanics stopped me from doing what I want? As I covered when bringing Riju a bear, we can take a bear from up here and conveniently drop it right down into the desert. Unlike horses, bears don't outright despawn when inside of the desert, so we get to go on a ride. After a nice, long, several-day cruise through the desert, and almost getting zapped because I haven't done Von Naboris on this file, we get to the first bear lift. Being a slant, it is very easy. Freeze, lift, and murder some 1 HP electric Zubats by firing the literal sun at them. And we've overcome our first hurdle, getting to the maze. Navigating this maze is fairly straightforward, much like any maze when you know the solution ahead of time. The gimmick here is that there are several locations that loop back in on themselves to try and throw you off. But again, knowing the solution ahead of time, There's a drop here that I was really hoping to just use a swiggity swoo to get down, but she refused. She wouldn't even run off. So freeze token number 2, spawn a chest and push. This next section is super easy because Berry actually goes up these stairs. And this drop here, she was actually willing to take the dive on. So it worked out pretty good for me. Now comes the part I was worried about for some reason. Freeze token number 3 is this little dip here. But being a drop and a lift, that means that we can just use the edge to lift her up with the chest and just lift her across. And then there's the final drop. And after spending over 30 minutes trying to just drop down, I eventually gave up using freeze tokens number 4, 5, and 6. And that's it for De La Mog. Now you may be sitting there thinking to yourself, man, this is absolutely ridiculous. Why am I not subscribed? I'm going to give you just a couple seconds to fix that problem, and then we're going to get to the really good stuff. And now for what everyone has been waiting for, LOMEI Island. A location that should be truly impossible for a bear to reach. In the middle of the ocean with an entrance several stories up. So how do we get Dear Berry up here? Well, the first idea I had was to do something similar to when I brought Flowerblight a bear. Loading her on a raft and shooting her across. But a much more extreme version. The ultimate bear evader. So I spent over a dozen hours trying to take her across the water, using octo balloons to raise up the raft, getting the timing right on the refreezing balanced with reloading the octo balloons, only to come to a harsh conclusion. It's actually not mathematically possible to do it this way. And that was a little upsetting. Now, this entire time I've been talking about freeze tokens. This is how I've been referring to the number of times she can safely be frozen. A total of 7 times, with the 8th being lethal when using the weakest ice rod. This number accounts for the strike and the refreeze. So in theory, it can be increased by not immediately refreezing Berry and hitting her right after she thaws. The downside to this is she has to be frozen the frame that she becomes unfrozen, or she'll just run off instantly. And it has to be done from quite far away from Link, because the weapon just homes in on her. So we have 7 freezes to work with, and it's going to take 5 to 6 to get to the entrance, 1 to 2 to cross the water, so 6 in an absolute perfect world, just to get to the maze. And from here, we cannot save and reset our health, because mount respawn coordinates don't set inside of mazes. That's an unfun fact. And we're gonna need 2 to 3 freezes inside the maze, so that puts us at 8 when perfectly executed. And that's a lethal amount. So, what do? Well, when I took her to King Rhoam, I displayed the first ever bear wrong warp. I had discovered a way using numerous glitches to successfully wrong warp a bear similar to how horses are wrong warped. But there's a major issue with wrong warping in. If you've ever done a horse wrong warp, you've likely fallen underground once or twice. Because when wrong warping onto thin terrain, with collision like say, a wall or floor, Link and other actors, like your mount, spawn in before collision of the ground loads, and you fall underground. So, in order to try and drop into the maze, and not appear at the bottom or in the basement, we need to place the travel medallion at an absurdly high position, and this maze has 5 different levels to work with. At the top of the shrine enclosure, the top of the maze walls, at shrine level and the stairs leading up to it, base level or the ground floor, and in the basement. Top of the maze and all levels below it when you wrong warp in, you appear in the basement, or lower. So the only possible location to work with would be above the shrine enclosure, right? Which also doesn't load collision fast enough. But, luckily, for those who don't know, shrines are actors, non-static objects that load in and out differently than, say, the ground. By placing the travel medallion directly above the shrine, The collision of the shrine doesn't stop the fall, which would have been great and made this a whole lot easier, but it does slow the fall. Somehow. As the screen is white and still loading everything, we can't observe what happens, but it does appear to slow it just enough to appear at base level. At almost the furthest point from where we need to go, but you know what, I'll take it. From here, there are only 2 obstacles left between us and the final challenge. The first is a magnesis block, and after a couple tries, I found I could just bomb the block out of the way and let Berry run up the step on her own because she refused to do it with Link mounted because reasons. Then I just had to run all the way over here to allow the block to unload and reload back in its starting position to get past it without having to use a freeze token. Navigating Berry through the entire maze to the second obstacle, which, as we saw in the first shrine, isn't very entertaining, so I'm just speeding it up here. We come to the second obstacle, it's another magnesis block, which can also just be blasted out of the way. There's just enough room to work with to slide Berry by. And at this point, I think freezing bears and other things has caught up to me, because I was actually freezing on stream. Holy crap, I'm actually in pain. It was for the kids though. The kids were happy. Ooh. Oh god, I'm getting sick. My teeth are chattering right now. Hope I'm not hearing you have a major medical issue. Alright. Yeah, this is what I need, is my, body shaking when I'm trying to do something extremely precise. I was okay though. I pushed myself physically too hard the day before and I got chills. But here is the final challenge. A long distance bear carry because she wouldn't run up these stairs for some reason, and it all starts with a flat surface bear lift. And she was actually yeeting the chest here, so no running onto the chest for this one. So it's time for a double trouble chest uppy go bear lift TM. Using the wall, a chest to move Berry, and a second chest, it was possible to get Berry onto the second chest. And I cannot convey the tension and excitement I felt during this, especially after doing this for 20 plus hours. So you know what? Here's the live clip. Third freeze. Get Berry down, get the bats. You know what, screw it. I'm just gonna fill it with bombs, because I don't know where they are. Next freeze. Just dance. It's done. It's done. Oh my god. Berry, we have been on some amazing adventures together, and I will never forget this. I hope you stick around and I get to see you again in Tears of the Kingdom. So everybody subscribe so Nintendo will put bears in the sequel. Bearwell, Berry. Bearwell.